Ken, how are we today?
How you doing? Doing good. It's early in New York, so
Oh, dude,
the fun happening.
Did I book you in on New York time?
Nah, it's all good. It's all good. That was the point. We're live from New York.
Jesus Christ. Oh my God, we're live from New York. I love it. This is amazing.
Yeah,
How is NYC at the moment?
it's good, man. I'm feeling energized. Having some good food. Makes me wanna stay home. You know.
Yeah, does it? You're not coming back to Europe?
There's still more work to do. Still more work to do, but I think it makes me start thinking about timelines. I think but it's good. Family, friends. I'm doing some stuff with the series guys out in the Hamptons this week, so it's gonna be some interesting content coming out. I think.
Dude, we're gonna get you back on after you've done the series stuff, just so that we can have a conversation about how these guys are building this out. They were in Forbes, man. This is crazy.
Yeah, yeah, dude. I don't know how they've done it, but I mean they've definitely taken over the zeitgeist or the mindset of what's going on, especially early stage in America right now. Especially at least in the Northeast. I know Cluely's kind of on the west side, but yeah.
Yeah, they've got two incredible companies out there. I even got an email from their founder asking if I wanted to come out and be a VC in one of the days. I couldn't sit there and go, I'm not a VC, so I can't do this. I'm not. It's not going to add the value that you need. So I just had to call it out to him and be like, look, I'd love to have you on the show, but you
Yeah.
need to go talk to some other people.
Well, maybe next time, who knows? Maybe this turns into something bigger,
Oh, we plan
Right.
to. This will be the most profitable show on the planet. It's going to be watched in every corner of the globe. But to start off, give us some context, give us some background. You guys, like, you have a huge amount of content on the web already, but kind of give me a précis.
Yeah, yeah. So just kind of a quick one. My name's Ken. As we kind of went through from New York originally, went through 2 years of banking. Kind of hated that, unsurprisingly. And then there was a company called Better.com coming up in New York, FinTech mortgage company. And my friend was working for them. I was like, "What's this FinTech thing? What's this startup thing?" It was kind of my first foray into that. So then during the pandemic, I moved to London where I did two masters consecutively. Currently work for two fintechs, bootstrap, VC backed, went from C to Series B. Then the beginning of 2023, there's a conference called SaaStock, largest B2B SaaS conference in Europe. The founder brought me on to build out Backfuture Ventures. So now I'm a principal there. We do pre-seed and seed B2B SaaS. We've done from Brazil to Singapore, everything from tech for tech, sales orchestration to alcohol, tax and logistics to air cargo. So we touched on a lot of different things. And as kind of mentioned in the post, we have the mergers, which is the podcast interviewing people with unconventional routes into finance and unconventional routes out of it. Yeah, so that's kind of the quick
I
try to
have
condense it.
I have
Yeah,
so
so
many questions, man. Like, I know we've had a conversation offline. I'm looking forward to more of those. But
yeah,
to start off, give me the Backfuture VC thesis.
yeah,
Why does that fund exist? Why B2B SaaS out of everything else? Explain.
yeah. So SaaStock, largest B2B SaaS conference in Europe, kind of like 10 years, 10 years in the mix now. So there's been suggestions for the founder to build a lot of fun for a while. The connections are there. Networks that we've seen, like Persanio, when they were like four people, Cladara, like won our pitch competition. I mean, there's been a lot of great companies. Hopin kind of came out of there. However you think about how that story went, but there's been a lot of great companies that have come out of SaaS stock, or at least been visible there, and that visibility creates opportunity and access, right? So if you have the ability to kind of pick, which is like you have sourcing, picking, winning, that whole thing. So that's kind of how that started out. So Fund One tickets of 100 200K. So we very much look to get into things. We like to think that the conference is a great USP to win these deals. And yeah, so part of like that, and then I also run the pitch competition for them, which we did 2 weeks ago, which we launched 2 weeks ago for the conference. But yeah, that's kind of what we do and what that looks like. So.
I love it. Well, I want to get into the SaaS stock later down the line because I know there's some incredible work that you're doing in Dublin, and it's super important that we touch on that right now. But I'd love to ask, when are we doing research for this segment? I understood that Backfuture is a solo GP. Can you explain what are the benefits of that, and like why did you come on board?
Yeah, so the benefits a lot of times is when you look at two on 20, right? So if you have like a smaller fund, 2% of the management fees are what gets you through for however long this runs. Usually sub 10 years, and you raise other funds in between that. Then 20% you get upside to pass your hurdle rate. It allows you to move a lot faster. It allows you to do a lot of things that process. There's experience and expertise. So like if you're a solo GP, a lot of times you either have long-standing experience as an operator or founder, or an investor. So there's a speed element there. Overhead smaller, which allows you to move faster, get into deals that you want. And it's truly relationship based. I think we're seeing this thing in funds where you have either the smaller guys that can really move fast, make quick decisions, and build their own conviction, then the mega guys who are like, they're just paying for everything, like doing other thing. And it's kind of, we're seeing a lot of pressure being put on the folks in the middle, because those guys on the mega side will just say, cool, we're just like, we've done deals where they're like, yeah, 5 mil round, we'll do 4.5, and with a valuation at 20, we'll do whatever you want with that half a mil. And like, if you're in the middle, you can't do anything there.
I mean, like you mentioned clearly, right? Like 15 million seed, wasn't it? And like valuation at over 100, and A16Z just filled the whole lot.
Yeah, the thing is, like, because for them, they don't care. It's like it's an optionality play for them. So, and which is, I respect it. If you can play optional checks out there, I don't blame you.
Dude, it's incredible the amount of capital that's flowing. Talk to me about the role of the principal when you came on. Like, why?
Yeah, I think so. I kind of started in sales in tech, and then I went into partnerships, which I really liked because it was a bit more of a strategic element, especially as we were building out the partnerships team for the company I was at before. But the principal, I think it's also a bit different at my fund, because I do touch a lot of things in the fund. So I've closed my own LPs, which is also like part of like, I guess what a principal would do, helping with fundraise, sourcing, closing, winning, picking, like they pretty much do everything. And I think this is the facet of being at a solo GP fund. So yeah, I mean, everything is kind of stuff I do as well. So I mean, it's hard to say what's the difference.
Have you got a favorite? Have you got a favorite aspect of the business that you like? Do you like going and doing the fundraising? Do you like going finding and closing out your own LPs, or do you particularly like spending time with founders and like deeply building that relationship so that you can invest in them?
Yeah, I think there's a few maniacs that like fundraising, but like I'm I'm kind of the person that will enjoy like just sitting down with like founders, winning deals, and like especially when we come down and say we're gonna commit to this deal. That's when like like cool. You don't have many in this industry or in this role, these kind of roles. Like there's only so many dopamine hits you get when you close a deal, when that deal goes somewhere, when they get a markup, and then like when that company exits, right? And only only one of those really matters if we're talking about it. But yeah, those are the kind of the when you get into markups, and it's all good stuff.
What's your approach to early stage investing? You've talked a lot about it online, and I'd love to just hear it from you. You talk about building a relationship, and it's a people business. How important is that in every deal that you do?
Yeah, I mean, like it's the tired trope of the storyteller. I mean, I'm like, why, there's maybe the difference between America and Europe. I say maybe, but there is. And is storytelling aspect is I say, cool, I understand what you're talking about, understand like what this is, but like, why should I or your customer care? And I think like a lot of times that does kind of come out from spending time with your customers, because you'll kind of say, well, this is what it means, this is what it feels like, and this is why people are kind of banging down the door for it. But yeah, I mean and that's kind of the aspect we look at, a very founder focused on our approach. Why, like, it's also just like, why is the founder doing this? I say my favorite one is like, there's a lot of problems we have in the world, but what made you stop to whatever you were doing before to be doing this? Someone made an interesting point the other day where the greatest signal that they will look for is the salary sacrifice component. So how much money are they giving up to be doing this? And that's kind of what you kind of index on, because there's this idea like a founder that's VC backed, cool, but like why are you doing this? You're doing this because it seems cool, and you want to cosplay as a founder. People cosplay as investors as well, so it's not just a one-sided thing. But why are you actually doing this? Do you actually believe in this, or are you just looking to tell some people this at a party?
Yeah, that's weird. Imagine cosplaying an investor. That must be just the oddest thing when you spot it.
I literally just got off a call before this where they were telling me that their round fell apart because the person that was going to put they originally committed to 750K. Then he said, you know, we're going to do 1 million now. And then when push came to shove that they're closing the round, it's like, oh, we actually don't have the money right now, so we can't do the thing. It's like, then why'd you make all these commitments? Like, why'd you do this?
I don't
And
think you can't manifest 250,000. Like that's a stretch.
it was a no. It was 1 million. It
Oh,
wasn't
a
even
full
250.
mil. So like they were going to commit to the 750 and then went, oh, I'm going to go full mil and just fell
Yeah.
apart completely.
Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
wow.
So,
Okay. So you can't
yeah, so
manifest a bill.
there's
That's crazy.
yeah, there's you know, like I hate to say that that's an isolated event, but it's not the first time I've heard stuff like this. I get that there's challenging times right now in the market, but dude, it's a bit dodgy. I don't know, like people, because there's yeah, sure you can say it's brand reputation, but like if you're the one that's kind of leading the deal on that for that firm, and you know you're known to be someone that's just like kind of playing fugazi games, then it's you know I would like to think that follows you, but yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure it does, given that the ecosystem is so like tight knit and close knit.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, everyone talks. It's all like I call it the circle jerk, you know. So
Well, I'm glad we have you on as our very first VC. I think it's great that we get on the one that everyone loves and hates because you're just going to tell us as it is rather than just sit there and sugarcoat it.
yeah, 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 nothing but the truth. As much as I try to. So,
Oh,
but
we'd
yeah,
love
no, I
to
think
hear
what
it.
you guys are doing is really cool, man. I love the what is it the ESPN style thing, like breaking news, you know.
Yeah, right. Look, I think that TBPN is great. It's great for the US, and it's like the guys out there are those like they are the archetype. And it felt that Europe needed a place of its own to do that as well. And we're never going to get the coverage that you can get in the US, but it's important that we get behind our founders and we get behind these incredible talents and their teams and make sure that they have their own distribution and places to come on and talk about. Ecosystems seems to be loving it. Um, and it's great that you get to hear from not just the founding team and the investors that invested in them, but from the engineers, from the marketeers. So many different functions have these superstars, and you got to give them a platform, right? Otherwise, they just get boxed into LinkedIn and kind of looked at like, oh my god, I'm talking my talk. Show the person behind the brand, and I think that that's more important than ever today. Plus, the distribution means that you can do creators, plus your internal employees, plus your brand stuff out of the company website. It's just a ton of content and win share of mind.
Yeah, no, I agree. Well, yeah, especially in the age of AI, you know, everything really comes down to the person even more. So the
Yeah,
individual.
that's a big fact. You mentioned the US UK kind of US Europe sort of. We don't storytell as well, but you guys do. Why do you think that exists?
Well, you think about it, like who because we're nut jobs.
Yeah,
Like
aside from that,
yeah, you could look at like think of it this way, like when back in the day, the Mayflower days, right? Who came to America in the beginning? Absolute nut jobs who said we're gonna be doing something because we believe in this and we want freedoms and like these really high pie in the sky ideas. And that's one thing. So like you know when you look at the East Coast, you know like pretty much they'll do crazy things, they'll push their creativity and all this. But then you go further west, you know, as you go to like California and like you know we have these real like Silicon Valley, right? Who were the people that went west during those times, like you know, or Oregon Trail and all this stuff, like the nut jobs of the nut jobs, because most of those people were like, you know, to make that trip, a lot of people died. You know, the Oregon Trail is a famous game, and you could barely make it to the end because of dysentery or whatever it might be.
agreed.
So I think a lot of that does come down to that aspect of it as well. But yeah, I think it's a huge cultural aspect. You know, doing big things, you know, really taking the shots, really just doing the biggest thing possible. You know, and that's kind of what America's always been about. So it kind of embedded in the DNA then.
Do you think because of the fact that you think bigger, because of the fact that literally everything is bigger, you just are able to operate on a larger scale? And not only that, you have an economy that supports that.
I mean, how do you convey the idea of largesse when like you know it's bigger than an Excel sheet, it's bigger than anything you could possibly imagine. You know, you have to tell a story on what it means and how to get there. You know, it's hard to illustrate it otherwise.
Ken, I've got to ask, what's the best story you've heard and then invested in?
Um, maybe it's a recency bias here, but the last deal we did was really exciting. I mean, the ex CPO of AirAsia Cargo is doing something in air cargo, obviously.
Nuts.
And like I'm like, the hell do I know about like air cargo? Like nothing. So he's telling me the story and I was going through the deck and like began to feel the pain of what's going on here and like see the opportunity of what it is. Asian American guy out of Singapore, but you know that was one of the fastest processes we've run. Simply because like it was the research was there, the understanding was there. It was all just like very very clear. We made our commitment, and then we look at Austin, Texas, where we had our pitch competition. He won, um, you know, like far ahead for our pitch competition. So it wasn't just us; it was just very good storytelling. You know, so.
Do you feel that every company today is an AI company, and you're not seeing a lot of, because of, well, obviously you do B2B SaaS, everyone has that story of like how AI is implemented in it. What is your take
Yeah.
on the application layer of AI enablement?
Um, I think there's a lot of value to be had there. I think we've like as an industry we've gone like back and forth between where's the value, is the infrastructure layer, like is it the application layer? Now you have these MCP conversations going on. But I mean, like again, like we're very founder focused in our approach, so we do try to keep it there. I mean, obviously, I do ask very much like, what's the point of this, right? Why are we doing this? And a lot of times I can't see a reason, but my own personal I guess hypothesis on what's going on now. You see a lot of layoffs going on. There's not a lot of uptake in tech talent as it is. That a lot of them aren't going to traditional industries. So what happens then? You have this huge talent pool of people that um, choose to then be founders because there's no other opportunities. And does that make for an inspirational story or groundbreaking product? Sometimes, but most times no. And that kind of comes through in the story of the business and the pitch that's coming through. But maybe like a bit of like an aside to the question you just asked. But yeah, that's kind of how I'm looking at that.
Interesting. Talk to me about SaaStock. You obviously, we've got the Dublin conference. We have the the Dublin conference coming out in the
Dublin
next
conference, yeah, yeah.
in the next couple of weeks, or is it months?
This is in October,
This is
so
in October, so we got a
yeah,
couple of months to get ready for this. Why is it so big?
yes. Um, yeah, I mean it's been around for a very long time. I mean, like I think this was like one of the beginning factors of people that um, in B2B SaaS conferencing focus like into this aspect. But for the pitch competitions, it's really interesting. So like we launched a €1 million prize like 2 weeks ago. So it's ourselves, Bad Collective, which is Black Games Group. They've done OpenAI, and they actually got into the air cargo deal with us as well. We have Heartfelt from Berlin, Opus, who you might know. They are the members club for
Yep.
founders. So like they're doing the deal, bringing their community in. We have Plug and Play, which I think everyone knows from Quadri Ventures. They did the deal of the winner in 2023, so now they're just consistently standing with us in that. But yeah, in terms of that, in terms of the competition, it's during the conference, 3 days of pitching up to 100 startups, 32 VCs, judging over the course of 3 days.
That's
Um,
nuts.
yeah, so it's exciting, and I mean, like it's been really cool to see the stories that have come out of it. I mean, last year we had semifinalists that got investment. And it's a great opportunity for folks to kind of spend time and get real feedback from actual investors, like on the ground while they're on site. Simply because, like from the investor side, they're not in like work mode per se, like or in the same work mode. Like, oh, I'm here to assess a pitch. They think, oh, I'll listen to the pitch and then like get feedback and stuff like that. But deals have come of it, so outside of the winner. So that's kind of how it looks like at a very very high level.
And that $1 million, is it deployed into one startup, or is it across first, second, third?
No, it's for the winner.
It's a one and done. It's a whole million.
Yeah,
Dude,
yeah.
that is
So everyone
insane.
everyone everyone runs their own individual process for it. That's why I say up to a mil. So we have expedited ICs. I mean, but the thing is, like once these things kind of run through, it gets very heady. I mean, there was a company that won. They were having issues with their fundraise because the LPAs for many funds said you can't do alcohol or vice or anything like that, and they're doing tax and logistics for alcohol brands. They were trying to raise 3. They won. They ended up doing a 4 mil round, oversubscribed at 4.2. So
Nuts.
I mean, like, and you have stuff like this. Like the last guy who won, he had a soft commit of 750K from a lead. He won. They said, "Cool, we're gonna do a clean 1.5 out of your 2 mil round." So we, things happen and change very fast. So yeah, it's just, but it's always cool to see how things happen. And we spoke to the semifinalists from last year as well. I think most of them got investment. Like 3 out of 4 got investment from outside sources that were in attendance.
Do you know what it feels like when you describe it? The American kind of like Democratic and Republican conferences that they have, where things are moving so fast on the ground, and like they're putting their votes in certain ways, and like sometimes it'll get to the nominees and then they'll pull out right at the last minute and just push their votes in another direction. Is
Yeah.
SaaStock end up like a bit like that, just for VCs and startups?
Yeah, especially on the pitch competition side. I mean, it's very intense. But that's also, I think that's momentum is what wins a lot of things. Like time kills all deals. So we create like all this momentum for a lot of stuff for the investors. And for instance, we have, from a USP perspective for the fund, we have European companies that will go to Austin, Texas, where then it becomes like, cool, you do in 3 days what would take 3 weeks because of the intensity, the momentum that's created there, people on the ground, whether it's investors, potential clients, and all this stuff. So it all ties in, and that's kind of the environment we're looking to create, something that's exciting, something that's kind of cutting edge, and you can meet some valuable people, and that ties into the pitch competition as well.
I've got to ask before we leave, before you love us and leave us and go spend time with your American startups instead of us Europeans. Talk to me about the mergers. Like, where did this come from, and what are the insights you're gleaning from all of this? Because you've got some incredible talent on that show.
Yeah, so random. So when I got into VC, for some reason, people started asking me about like how to exit their business. I'm like the actual. I was like,
Complete
sure, I can try.
opposite.
Yeah, so there's a company called Flipper.com. They are a like an M&A marketplace, digital marketplace. So it's pretty interesting. So I was actually going to be supposed to be joining them, but then things happened. I got in the venture, so I did have the connections, so to speak. So it kind of doing that kind of thing, and then people were, I met so many people, and like I'm not someone that like said, oh, we need to meet one to one. I'm like, oh, if there's so many people that want to meet up, we'll just all come together, we'll have beers, whatever, and just kind of do that. So that's kind of how that started out. And then after a few of these, someone was like, oh, if you do if I'll sponsor the next one. I was like, oh, you put money behind this. I'm like, okay, so maybe I have something here. So we did a few sponsored events after that. And then someone, then I had the steer code come up, and then we had people wanting to do different things within it, and I was like, it's really started moving. And then one of them was like, oh, let's do a podcast. And if you see Rory, our co-host, he's the one that's like, he wants to do a podcast. Admittedly, I was pretty hesitant at first, but then I was like, whatever, man, we'll do it. Um, so now podcast is kind of the focus. We do have an event, summer party, coming up next week. And
US or UK?
UK. I'll be back on Monday, but I'll make sure you get the invite.
I
But
appreciate you.
yeah, the thing is, it's very simple in my mind. Unconventional routes into finance, unconventional routes out of it. Um, and that's kind of, so we've had some interest, or so I look at it. Do you have a scale of personal and professional? Usually these things should be equal, or personal is a bit higher, or you have someone like the professional is just so high, like I don't care what the personal was, because like we just want to hear the story. So like we have a guy, which our best episode so far, did almost 20,000 views. Um, he his family escaped the Biafra War, and I think it's Biafra War. I'm not sure about that, but yeah, in Nigeria, they lived in a bed sit in South London for a bit, and now he's an MD at BlackRock. So that kind of stories like that 20-year-old kid that has like 30 mil hedge fund.
Yeah, that one was nuts. Like, if anyone's watching, go and watch that episode. Like, just the sizzler in the first 30 seconds is by
Yeah,
far the most hooked sizzler I found on the web for a while.
yeah, and it's there's seems to be demand for it. I mean, like 21 episodes in, and we have 2.5 thousand subscribers, which is not something I would have imagined. But here we are. We're just building it out, and the consistency, as you probably know yourself, is probably the hardest part, right? Being consistent with things, coordinating people, especially with external parties. So we're looking to keep running this. I think it's a nice reprieve from the typical VC stuff.
Does it allow you to kind of switch off and like switch on this other side of like, oh great, I can have this like really in-depth conversation over a significant period of time, like dive in and sink my teeth into a story compared to this constant churn of like pitching, and like trying to find alpha and like deeply understand that founder and check if they're playing you or being a fraud in their own capacity.
Yeah, I mean, like I'll do my research, but then like I usually just try to keep people off the beaten path in the conversation. You know, like people. Well, when we talk about pitching, I usually say send me your deck before we'll have an informed conversation, and we'll just see how the conversation flows from there. Because people could practice their pitch, and the person pitching might not be the person you're speaking to. So that could be an interesting thing. And on the other side, I mean, like I'll know these people in many cases. So while my co-host does like the full structured docket, I'm the one that like has some spicy stuff to ask on the side because I know like, okay, we're gonna pop in here. I'm gonna there's the path of the docket, but I'm gonna take you off it for a bit. We're gonna come over here and have this conversation, then I'll bring you back. So we have an interesting dynamic there. On the podcast, you see Roy's kind of running like the main thing, and then you'll see me pop in and say, "Oh, let's. What do you mean by this? Like, what's going on here?" So we have like a little wild card on the side of in myself.
I love it. Like I'm a big fan of the like go and take the weird path because it just the insights that come out of that and just the conversation is so much more engaging. Go live. That way there's no takebacks. Like they have to answer just straight away and it becomes a really interesting conversation when everyone's kind of on edge. I feel so relaxed doing this because I just make myself look like a fool and it's the best thing in the world, but I get to talk to the most smartest people on the planet.
You're natural, man. Like energy is contagious. Like,
I appreciate you. Well, we were trying to be American. We're trying to tell better stories, right? That's how we get the funding. Look, before you go and you get off to the series house, tell people where they can find you and the type of companies that you want on the docket in terms of the fund.
Yeah, so we're doing pre-seed and seed B2B SaaS. What that means, a lot of things. Apparently, we have 10 mil rounds being done, but if you're a founder with domain expertise doing something great, or anyone really, happy to take a look. We invest globally, like I mentioned. Find me on LinkedIn, Kenneth Thomas. That's middle name's Kashif. Literally the only one on LinkedIn, so I could have that claim.
Yeah, big facts.
Yeah. Catch me there. Or try to be very responsive. My job is communication, so try to communicate with you.
Ken, I'm looking forward to catching up with you when you're back. Let me know the deets on the summer party. I hope for an invite. Maybe we do some live streaming there. Enjoy the series house. I want to hear all about it.
Yeah, you'll be the first to know. All right, man. Appreciate you. Thank you.
Appreciate you. Cheers, Ken. Speak soon. Ciao, ciao.